All right. I think maybe we're going. Let's give us a second to go. I'm going to give the front spiel here. Hello and welcome to the home stream. That is Hang Out with Musicians stream. Welcome home. I'm Ben Brown. The purpose of these streams are to equip musicians and to solve problems. Today, I'm joined with Dolf Guardiola. Say hello, Dolf.
Hello, Dolph.
Okay, I'm very good.
Yeah, that was
uh,
a dumb joke. That was a dumb joke. Sorry.
it's quite all right. Um, let's see.
Hello,
There's
Ben.
hello, Ben. I
Hi,
could,
Ben.
I can do.
That's you.
I should probably just do the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am just like taking a beat to check the stream health. But thanks for joining me today, Dolph. This is like
Yeah, man.
this is a great treat. Um, Always with these streams, there can be technical difficulties and like little interruptions, and that's okay.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll just roll with the punches, and I think you'll be very good at that.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Just tell me what you need me to do or not do.
okay. Uh, yeah. Okay. We're rolling. Maybe not in like all the perfect places, but here we are. Um,
Okay.
so I know. Let me just like lay the setting. You know, I already kind of said the purpose of these streams. I don't think that you're necessarily going to have technical problems, or not necessarily trying to equip you, but you
Right.
do have a lot of skills that, like, does equip musicians. Like you work for a college that I went to, a
Right.
fantastic college, South Plains College, that does exactly that. Like help equip musicians, and currently you're trying to go through the problem of how do you keep doing that? How do you keep doing that well? Servicing, equipping musicians as well as audio engineer students to like as in this current scenario. So I figured, I
Y-
know that you guys at South Plains are like some of the smartest people in the world, and that you're probably you're going to be solving this problem in like
Yeah.
the best way. And so I want to hear, I kind of want to hear the inside baseball from you guys.
Well, with the current situation, the of course the problem is that we can't meet in person, right, with
Mm-hmm.
students. So we're having to do remote teaching or remote learning, as they call it. And it's really tough because as far as on the audio engineering, the sound tech side of things, that's kind of our claim to fame at South Plains College is the how much hands-on experience the students get with the equipment, with the recording consoles, the control surfaces, the outboard preamps and processors and that kind of stuff. And now we can't do that. So that's the thing that brings students to us. And now we're having to finish a semester without giving without being able to do that for the students. So, for example, after spring break, my audio
Mm.
engineering 2 class was going to record a full band project. They split up into teams and go into the studio and record a band. They have to interact obviously with musicians, and then they have to set up, headphone mixes and, all the stuff that you do in a recording studio. Well, you can't do that at home, right?
No,
Unless you
no,
have
yeah,
a studio and you also have a band that comes over and,
yeah,
et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. So what do we do? Well,
yeah,
the
yeah.
best thing I could come up. Well, initially I was like, well, we've got, we're a Pro Tools certification center. So
Mm-hmm.
we kind of were like, well, we can at least go through the Pro Tools books and I can assign some reading assignments, and I've got one of the other textbooks, same thing. I can just have them, hey, go read this, go answer these questions,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
find the answers to these questions. But that's not really the spirit of our class.
Mm-mm.
It's
No.
like, they don't come to SPC to, you know, read out of a book.
Yeah.
They come to they come to use our equipment, to use equipment they couldn't afford themselves, and and so that I can direct them and lead them and give them tips and show them tricks, as they say,
Uh
or
huh.
techniques. Really, I guess is a better word of how to interact. Not only how to use the equipment, but also how to interact with musicians as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
So, um, so after the first day of meeting with my classes via Zoom,
Okay, you've done this
I
already. The
yeah, so I was finally my the second day I was talking to my audio 2 class, and I said, "You know what? Um, let's just collaborate on a song because this is what the technology that we're having to use now.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
This
yeah,
is what it'll allow us to do, right?
yeah.
And we're still producing music,
Okay.
but everyone is in their own
Yeah,
house.
their
Some of them
own
are in different cities, obviously.
space studio. Yeah, because where you
Yeah.
are is
So
pretty expansive,
yeah.
city wise. Huh.
So anyway,
Man, right
so
on.
I
Yeah, I definitely like to dig into that. And I think we'll probably circle around that as we talk.
okay.
Um, right now, I kind of want to like
Yeah.
take a moment to like. Usually, when we do these, we have like this like deep breath kind of moment where we like
Yeah.
like get into it. Yeah, yeah. It's that's like a part of the podcast, the
Oh, I
Homecast.
got you.
Yeah. So it's like just like taking a moment to just kind of take a deep breath and then be in the space where it's like, okay, it's like we're here. We're gonna just kind of settle into it and start. Yeah. Uh, yeah.
Right on.
Be in the space together. So yeah, I'm gonna encourage that. And anybody listening. So yeah, deep breath
So
and
be present
be present. Yes,
is what
nice.
you're telling me.
Yes, here's gonna be the moment and no pressure here. So
Yep. For me, that usually means I take my phone out of my pocket and I put it somewhere where I can't see it or hear it.
yeah, do you have a is that like a daily habit or just when
Uh,
you?
when well, in the studio for sure. Like anytime
Okay.
that I really need to focus on something, I have to like remove because even the phone in my pocket, right? If it vibrates, then it's like pulling me back over
Mm-hmm.
to something else. It's distracting me.
Yeah, to like shallow
So
thinking
so I like
land.
to
Yeah.
yeah, I just like to take it out of my pocket and just that way I don't feel it, no matter what it does.
Uh huh. Yeah, yeah,
And I just kind of put it somewhere else. It's really hard these days, I think. Um,
yeah.
Not for me, but definitely for younger people. The phone, they're so used to having the phone attached to
It
their body,
it really feels like
you know.
in a yeah. It feels like an extension of identity. I think you can make like a
Hmm.
really good case that like your phone is like a part of you, just like a tool
Yeah,
is.
sure, yeah, yeah.
But like, yeah,
But
can
yeah,
I?
I like to
Oh,
I take the phone out and then
uh,
I just kind of uh, yeah, just go, okay, I'm here for the thing that I'm here for.
yeah, heck yeah,
So then do that. Like even when I'm teaching class, I take it out of my pocket, put it somewhere on my desk or somewhere else or on a table, and then just talk about the topic at hand. So
yeah, heck yeah. Let's do that.
yeah.
It's like
Okay.
I don't think I can totally get rid of my phone because I'm watching chat, but maybe I should.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, is there like feedback going on while we're talking? Like are
Um,
people
no, not yet.
able
There
to
might be, but
okay.
people could.
I mean, are they able to?
I think so. What I think has happened is I think I've linked to a spot that has not. Uh, it's not like so obvious that it's like that it's playing. So you kind of have to like click around and get from where I linked to my page, and then you can like
Ah,
click on it. Yeah. So
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
that didn't work out as planned, but that's okay. It's quite all right. This is all about being flexible and adaptable, um, and
Sure.
now it's about talking about the thing at hand. I like to in the podcasts. So we talk to musicians. Like the idea is to have an hour of like calm, good time to be with musicians so that people can feel like they got to spend time with those musicians. And I think that's really important if you're going to like ask for support or something. Like if you're asking for PayPal or like like a tip, or if you're asking for Patreon, it's like people want to
Right.
know
Yeah.
how people are. And so the way that we kind of structure that is this will kind of be a hybrid, I guess, between the stream and a in an interview, because I think you're like very interesting, Dolph. And I usually structure things as past, present, future, um, just to kind of give us a general
Okay.
structure. And so, yeah, I kind of want to hear your background for back in the time when there was no phones and you like first started a relationship with music.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Uh, well, let's see. Relationship with music goes back to like early childhood, I guess for me.
Okay.
The stories that my parents tell are that when I was a baby, a toddler, I would I would not I would not go to sleep at night until they played music and they actually held me and danced. And
Okay.
so while they kind of danced around the room with me listening to music, I would then fall asleep. So they were like, so my parents were like, "Yeah, you always
Wow.
needed music, to
It's like calm
I guess
down.
to sleep, to
Oh
calm
man.
down." Yeah,
But
you know, and then
I live with my niece and nephew, and they're very like musical, and like they have a hard time getting to sleep. This would be really painful. This would be a very painful thing to have to do
oh
every
yeah,
night.
yeah, I'm sure my parents were. It was not a cute thing at the time.
No.
I'm sure it was a chore. So but then as it progressed, as I got a little bit older, into toddler and actually running around and the other story that
Hmm.
my parents would tell was that I would listen to music like my dad would be listening to his records, and that I was always asking them, what makes that sound, and they would like, well, what sound are you hearing? And so they said that I would try to mimic the sound with my voice, with my mouth, and so I'd hear
Okay.
something and they'd be, I don't know what I would say, and they were like, "Oh, okay," and then they'd figure out, "Oh, you're talking about, an accordion," because my dad listened to a lot of Tejano norteño music,
Okay.
and they're like, "Oh," and they would go, "Well, I think you're talking about the accordion," and I
Okay.
was
Yeah,
like,
you'd be
"Okay," and I would, and so
like,
yeah, so
yeah.
I wanted to know what you called the things that
Okay.
made the sounds.
Ooh,
So
that's a good audio engineer question.
yeah, it was like I didn't, it's one of those things where now looking back, I go, oh, I was already from the get go. I just was intrigued by sound and what made sounds and why different things made different sounds. You know what I mean? And then how you put those sounds together and make
Yeah.
something as cool as music.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
that's quite a feat for humanity when you think about it. That
Hmm.
we've we've created, starting with acoustic instruments, but now we have more than just acoustic instruments, and how we
Oh.
we
Oh yeah.
get them to generate sounds,
Hmm.
and we've developed a common sound language for instruments, if you will, right?
Yeah, that no,
And
it's
then
wild to have just 12 notes and like it's
yeah,
so
and
adopted
then
having notation, having chords
yeah,
like
and then
yeah.
yeah, and then imagine you convince another human being to go, okay, with your thing, I need you to make these sounds.
Yeah.
And when I
Oh
make my
man.
sounds and you make your sounds, then there's going to be a third thing that
That'd be
happens, and
nice.
everyone's going to hear that and they're going to either like it or not like it, right?
Man.
And then you decide, hey, let's get two more people or however many more people, and let's have them make sounds with their little wooden box or whatever it is
Hmm.
they have. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
with strings or
Chippa, chippa, chippa.
reeds or valves or,
Yeah.
you know,
I just think of drum
animal
circles, I guess.
skins.
Yeah, drum circles, and
Yeah.
you have like the talking drum, and then you move on from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. It's quite a feat. You know, it's
Huh.
like it's when you start to think what exactly are we doing when we're playing with other people, when we're playing music,
Yeah, I don't know.
you know? So but anyway, so yeah, as a kid, that's kind of where my love for music started. And then eventually when I got a little bit older, 6 or 7 years old, um,
Hmm.
my dad finally gave me permission to change the radio station on his
Okay.
stereo in the house. So, you know, he listened to a lot of obviously Mexican music, so Spanish stations,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I had no problem with that, but because I didn't know any better, you know, I didn't
Yeah, well, you
know.
don't
I mean,
know. Yeah, you don't know
yeah,
until you know
there's no.
things.
That's the
Like,
cool thing about
you know,
children; they don't have prejudices or biases, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah. They accept things as they are because that's
yeah.
how their world is.
So
Hmm.
once he allowed me to change the
Yeah. Did
radio
you find
dial, I
pop
went
music?
hunting for other music, you know, and found the local radio station that was playing the hits of the day, you know. So
Okay.
so we're talking about late 70s, right? Late
Whoa. Okay.
1970s.
So
So
the best time for music, I think.
yeah, right. It was right at the kind of the
Songs in the Key of Life, Stevie
yes,
Wonder.
yeah,
Oh man,
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
imagine. I can't imagine a world where there is one album and every radio station you go to is playing that album, and everybody knows it, and like it's completely
yeah.
pervasive. Like that seems like impossible now. Like everything is so fragmented, and it's like yes, Beyonce's big, yes, Kanye's big, but I don't think it's the same thing as like
Yeah.
that kind of moment. Uh,
Yeah. Well, you know, think about it. It's like that was the only way we heard music was the radio.
mm, mm,
You know, that was still 70s. That's pre MTV.
okay, yeah.
And,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, obviously way, way, way before the internet. So there was no streaming or not even Napster or anything like that. You know, that's
Napster. Oh yes.
so
Yeah.
we only had radio stations. So there was in this area, you know, the Texas Panhandle area,
Yeah.
there was a radio station that played the hits. There were a couple of country music stations, of course, because that was a lot more popular than pop music.
Hmm.
There were
Yeah. In
no
Texas.
black music stations, so
Okay.
no
No
R
R
and
and B.
B
Yeah.
or anything like that. And then
That's sad.
the sole beacon of um, portal to the rest of the world's music was Texas Tech's the university here in Lubbock.
Yeah.
Their radio station, of course, they played college radio, so you would
Okay.
hear, you know, you would hear international music. I guess you could say you would hear, you know, British stuff,
Interesting.
or
Yeah.
you know,
That
you would
was
hear
uh,
things that aren't mainstream.
when I lived
You know,
in Austin, that was my favorite thing. Like I'm not a radio person, but I would totally put on the student radio from UT. It's like that was just like fun. It's so random, and sometimes it's like not
yeah,
that great of music, or it's like it's like so deep electronica that it's just like beeps and boops and like ocean waves for half an hour,
yeah,
and it's like it's
yeah,
so
yeah.
much fun. It's like I love how like what a lottery it is.
Yes, yeah. It was a potpourri, I call it,
Yeah.
but yeah, you know, the college radio stations, the unsung heroes, you know, back in the
Okay.
day of bringing us music that the locals would never go and look for on their own, you know?
Yeah. Is that how you could get exposed to like punk things that are happening at
Yeah.
AGBG's in New York?
Well, Bee Gees would be disco back in that time era, so
BG's.
they were
Yeah.
definitely on the radio, you know,
I guess maybe I'm
so
thinking like
disco was,
Ramones or something. Is that?
yeah, Ramones would not be on the radio, so you would probably hear those on the college radio station. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, what a different.
Yep.
It's such a time. Like I, hmm, I think now is really tough with music. Actually, I wanted to ask you this question. I'll follow it after this. So I think like
Yeah.
Now it's tough having all of the options. There was once that I had a friend who had taken an Xbox video game console, and he had modded it and put on all of the games that you like up to that point, nearly like all of like the Nintendo games and all of the old Xbox games, and it was all in one place.
Yeah.
And I found like playing that was like it made a whole lot of discontent because every game that you started, any kind of frustration, it was like, well, I'll just try the next game. Like you hit any kind of wall or any kind of like, it's like I don't think I like this. You just go to the next one, and you end up having like no depth with anything, and you feel like there's so many things out there that if there's like a perfect thing for you to be doing, and if you don't find that thing, you're missing out. Anyway, like
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
options
Yeah.
options kind of like breed discontent. And I think in the world of music, like we have a whole lot of that right now. Like there's just so many options, and it's kind of tough. So the question was, how do you currently consume music, Dolph?
That's a great question. I actually, you know, teaching at a college where you have lots of musicians,
Hmm.
lots of young, fresh out of high school musicians. A lot of times these days now, they recommend things to me.
Okay.
They'll say, they'll be talking about a certain artist or band or whatever, and they'll, a lot of times they'll tell me like, hey, have you heard blah blah blah's song or so and so's record or whatever, and I'm like, no, and I'll you make a mental note or whatever, and I honestly, I'm I'm probably part of the problem. I just
Okay.
go and have a Spotify account, so
Yeah.
I go listen to music on Spotify,
Yeah. Yeah. I
and
mean,
so sometimes YouTube.
hop in. Yeah.
YouTube's I think is also
I've discovered
I think
some things I've loved on YouTube. Uh, that's more
yeah,
recent.
YouTube and Spotify. Those are kind of the thing. I don't do Apple Music. I know a lot of people do Apple
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Music, but I don't have. I feel like I've already kind of sold part of my soul to Apple as it is, so I
Yeah.
try to kind of try to not increase that percentage. So yeah, I'm a Spotify subscriber, and like I said, between that and YouTube, and really that's how I hear about new music. I also have every year I do a Grammy party at my house, and
Okay.
so
Grammy
a
party.
select few friends come over, and I print out ballots for the different categories, and they all kind of everybody guesses, and then we watch the Grammys, and whoever gets the most correct guesses wins what I call the Dolph Grammy. And they get to take it home for a year, and then you bring it back the next year, and so the
Like a
point being that
Dundee, but
sometimes I
Dolphy.
discover music watching the stupid Grammys. It's like watching that and go, oh, it's like, oh, that's a really good, especially when they perform. I'm a little more old school, so I kind of like it when I get to see a musician perform. So then I can go, okay, they're legit. They're not just a complete studio fabrication. So
Right, yeah. Things can.
anyway, but that's kind of how I consume music. Other than that, I have way back in the early 2000s, Apple made this little device called an iPod. I don't know if you remember those.
I
And
yes, I remember iPods.
do you remember
Um
iPods?
I
Yeah.
do remember
No one knows
iPods.
what an iPod is
I,
now, but I am kidding, of course. So,
no,
but
I got yeah, yeah,
anyway.
yeah. Sorry. The I think the stream might be having some interruptions, and so
Oh,
I'm
oh.
but I don't think I have any kind of solution for it because I think it's an internet thing on my part.
Ah, yeah.
Um I don't know if I could be doing any better. Maybe I could. I'm uh I'm going to I'm gonna attempt to
Is
switch the thing that I'm logged into.